Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dads on the Rocks podcast, and Happy New Year. I hope you're all waking up this morning without a hangover, and for you parents out there, I hope you made it to the ball drop. As for me, I was in bed before 10 p.m., as per usual. It's a new year, and I'm trying something a little different for the show. A little less structured as before, and it's going to seem like two people sitting on the back patio having a drink and talking about life. And I like that idea. I think I think that's something that we as parents, we don't get enough of anymore. It's hard to keep friends nowadays. I'll see how it goes. And if it doesn't work out, well, it's my damn show and I'll do whatever I want to. But anyway, today's guest is a guy that I've known for nearly my entire life. One of two best friends that I've had from the ages from 6 to 12, I believe. And that was when he sadly moved away. We've kept in contact this entire time, and he is now a fellow dad. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Danny Mejia. Danny, say hi to everybody.
Hey, everyone. How you doing?
As always, Danny, we begin with the toast. Today, I am having a Funky Buddha Void Shaker. It's a barrel-aged stout with vanilla. It's very, very, very tasty. Danny, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and also what you're having tonight?
I am a 35-year-old Hispanic male, 5'9", a little over 200, so no longer an athletic build.
I don't know why, but that sounded like a bolo. Like as I was right back at work, like be on the lookout, 5'9", Hispanic male, medium build.
Oh, well, being down in South Florida, there's quite a few of them. Active duty Air Force, been in a little over 12 years now. Just finished my glass, sadly, and my bottle of Willett Family Estate Rye. My favorite rye. It's a nice high test, 108.2 proof. So I'm getting ready to switch over to my favorite, my go-to, Colonel E.H. Taylor small batch.
Nice.
100 proof. Yeah.
I'm still trying to find my way in the whole whiskey bourbon world. I know what I like and I know what I don't. If I don't like it, if I drink enough of it, I get used to it and then I like it. Kind of like how it goes with a lot of the different whiskeys, bourbons, and alcohol in general for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, dude.
I'm still trying to find my way in the whiskey world and the things that go into it. I'm trying to be to whiskey as I once was with beer. So because I'm trying to get away from the beer a little bit and going towards whiskey and actually even vodka a little bit here and there. But beers where I really love because they do a lot of different things with flavors and different stuff that they do. I'm just trying to branch out a little bit because I kind of feel like beer is on its way out, essentially. All the craft stuff, it's not cost effective to make it anymore. And I feel like it's going to phase out pretty soon.
I got to disagree with you on that one completely.
Really?
For sure. But I have to ask, with that barrel-aged stout, what's the test on that one? Because I've had some that are extremely high test, I'm curious with that. I absolutely love barrel-aged stouts. That's my favorite beer, so I'm jealous.
I'm gonna have to look at it on tap because it doesn't. Surprisingly, it doesn't say it on the bottle.
Oh
no, it does it right here, in 11%.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Just side note, real quick. I was in Asheville with a couple of my best friends, and we went to I'm gonna forget the name of the brewery now, but we went to a brewery and it's like a metal brewery. I don't know if you've ever seen those. I've been to True Brewing out in Denver, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And this one now, I'm not going to remember the name of the brewery, unfortunately, but they had probably one of the best stouts that I've ever had. And I'll send it to you after. And if anybody's interested, I'll send it to you after too. But it was like a 14.5%. And
it's not beer, that's malt liquor.
Oh, but dude, it was so good. It was so good that I had two, and I do not remember drinking them now because it was high octane and it was very, very good stuff, to the point where I'm like, man, I would love to go back and get another one of these. And I screenshotted what it was from the menu so I would remember, because at that point I was not going to remember with that high octane.
Yeah, nope. That's definitely not going to happen. Not going to happen. But so to kind of on the point of the brewing, the craft brewing not going away, Dude, I'm in the St. Louis area. Anheuser-Busch, free tours right across the river,
Oh, nice.
20-minute drive from the house. But there are more craft breweries here with some of the most amazing beers I have ever had.
Yeah.
A local one, they did a Scotch ale aged in rye barrels. That was really good. I want to say that was an 11 or 12%. And then one of the guys I work with, he's a home brewer. He did a Scotch ale aged in a whiskey barrel for 6 months. Dude, it was the best beer I've ever had.
Wow.
We're begging him to make another batch. And he says it came in similar to that one at 11%, but no. I had an 8-ounce glass and I couldn't feel my face.
Oh, you had an the OYA. After you drink it, you're on your ass.
Pretty much. Yeah, there was no getting up off the floor.
Maybe I should tweak that a little bit with the way that things are going and everything being delayed and stuff like that when it comes to shipments and things like that, and prices for things are getting more expensive. It's harder to get these ingredients that go into like these really small batch craft brews, and they're getting harder to make, so they're getting more expensive, so people are going to buy them less. Doesn't mean that they're any less good, doesn't mean that there's people that don't appreciate them and they want to drink them, because of course they do, but they're getting too expensive, and that's going to be a thing. But something that I found out from people in the industry, they've gone back to drinking the lighter stuff, the easy drinking stuff. And I heard a term actually when I was in Asheville called table beer, which I had never heard of. Kind of like table wine, something that's low alcohol that you can put on the table, that you can kind of like almost like a Bud Light, something that's easy, but it's craft, a little bit more profile to it, but it's lower alcohol, lighter. And it's what a lot of people in the industry are drinking. They want to go back to the Pilsners and the Kolsch's and the Pales. It's a big, big thing. And if you don't see it now, mark my words, in the next year to year and a half, you're going to see it much more. I assure you.
I think I've already seen it, but I wasn't sure if it was a craze or just something amongst those in our age bracket. And that's the kind of like the turn to IPAs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I don't. That's one I don't understand. I'm not a big fan of the sharp hoppiness, so I don't do the IPAs. But pretty much everyone else I know in our age bracket, they're like, let me get that IPA.
Yeah, like for me, example, like I love IPAs. Like the more it destroys my palate, the better I like it. And not in every sense. Like I like the different variations, whether it's West Coast, East Coast, or a hazy or not. It's a bunch of different variations that I can get on board with. Everybody's got a different tongue, so everybody likes different things.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I love cooking with IPAs. I think IPA, that is the best beer to use when cooking any kind of poultry.
Yeah, that I would definitely go with. I like what have I cooked with before? I've done have you ever done like a beer can chicken?
I just did one with Sierra Nevada.
What was it? I have to imagine it. Was it an IPA?
Yeah.
Okay. They do. Oh man. Again, this is the third time I feel like I've brought it up. But when we were in Asheville, we went to the Sierra Nevada campus. If you're ever in Asheville, 100% go to the Sierra Nevada campus. It is one of the most beautiful. I hesitate to call it a brewery because it's not just a brewery. It's got a magnificent backyard, what they call the patio, the back patio. We were there and it was super cold. So it was like maybe 35, 40 degrees. They had the heaters on, everybody's in jackets. They had the fires going, which me as a Florida person,
you were like, frozen, man.
I had 4 layers on. I had my mask on, not because I was told to, but because I needed it. But no, they have an absolutely gorgeous campus. They have trails that you can go and hike. From what I'm told, we didn't get to do that, but from what I'm told, they have trails that you can go and hike. They have a beautiful, beautiful campus, and their beers are, I mean, they speak for themselves. So,
I was lucky enough to win a Sierra Nevada sponsored homebrew kit, and it was
nice.
For an American IPA. or an American Pale Ale. Sorry, yeah, an American Pale Ale.
Okay.
So I did it, followed the instructions. I brewed it. I didn't like it, but the wife, she thought it was delicious.
Oh, good. Again, comes back to everybody's tongue is different. If you don't like
Yep.
something, somebody else is gonna love it. So something I did want to talk about, Danny, is your military service. You said that you're active Air Force. I know that you're currently working cyber intelligence, you said?
Yep.
Okay. When I was in college, I started going to college for journalism because I really like to write. I'm good at it, I guess. But I found that, that there's no money in it. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to do something. If I want to have a family, I got to make money somehow. So I switched over finally at the behest of my dad to go into law enforcement. And that's, where I'm at now. But when I started doing the law enforcement thing, I really took, actually the whole starting point was when I took an anti-terrorism class.
Oh, yes.
I fell in love with it. This was way after 9/11, but all the different groups, I fell in love with learning about the IRA, and because of Irish, my heritage and everything. It's like, man, there's a whole part of my history that I didn't know. So, and it was really brutal back then. Like I didn't know about this, and I'm like, well, what else don't I know? So I fell in love with the learning about terrorist groups and intelligence and the things that you need to know to prevent things like 9/11 and all that stuff happening. So I kind of wanted to go into intelligence when I was in college. It never happened. I stayed local. I'm happy with my decisions, but I always think of what if. Like, so can you tell me what it's like working in intelligence?
Yes, I can tell you from my perspective.
Yeah.
Certain things I do have to keep kind of light on. When I say light, I mean like wave tops. Hit the wave tops, if you will.
Gotcha.
I do hold a clearance. I do have a top secret with caveats added to that. So, contrary to popular belief, there is nothing higher than top secret. It's just other programs that you may or may not be read into based on your need to know.
Right.
So, what I like to tell people about joining the military is it's a lot like being a parent, and it is nothing like getting married. What I mean by that is you're never really ready. There's just a best time for it. I did not join right out of high school. I was not ready at 18 years old. I joined at 23, a little bit of college under my belt. I wouldn't say I was working a dead end job, but I was laid off, and I had to do something if I wanted to keep the amazing woman that I'm married to. So
now, were you together at that point when you joined the military?
Not
Not officially.
We were broken up. She had broken up with me before I joined. So I've been in a little over 12 years. September 9th is my as we like to call it, Air Force birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's different. Being an intelligence analyst in the Air Force, it's a crapshoot with what you do based on where you are. So I've been first duty station was Dyess Air Force Base in the middle of Texas, supporting the B-1 bomber. I did a deployment out of there, which some would say it's not a deployment. Danny Mejia would agree with that, but these are my views, not the views of the U.S. Air Force or the DoD.
Fair enough.
They call it a deployment. No, we call it Camp Cupcake, right?
Yeah.
There's 2 pools, a Dairy Queen, a Baskin Robbins, a Burger King, 2 Pizza Huts, Taco Bell, Arby's. The list goes on, right? That was July of 13 to January of 14.
Okay.
And then from there, 2015, I did a permanent change of station here, Scott Air Force Base in Illinois, which is like 30 miles east of St. Louis, Missouri. And then in 2019, I did my overseas short tour, which is 1 year away, unaccompanied. So I had to be away from my wife and kids for a total of 368 days.
Good Lord.
Yeah, but it's what we sign up for. There's lots of benefits. one of the big benefits to that was, a year later, July 2020, I came right back. I did a base of preference move, and I had my return paperwork before I left. So I knew I was coming right back. We didn't have to uproot. We didn't have to move.
Well,
and
that's
I'll be
nice.
able to be here for another 2 or 3 years.
Well, that's good. You said the job kind of differs on where you're stationed at. Is there anywhere that you've been that you would like to go again, or somewhere that you haven't been that you'd like to go? Keeping in mind that you have a family now, and I think you mentioned that you have the two kids, 2 under 10, essentially.
Yes, 2 kids. Adriana, she is 8. We call her Addie, and Daniel, he is 6. We call him Bug. Yeah, strangely enough, now that they're both in school full time, once we'll call it the pandemic climate. That seems to be a safe PC terminology to use.
That's appropriate.
Once the pandemic climate, for lack of a better term, goes away and things do go back to complete normal.
Mm-hmm.
Strangely enough, I'd love to take the family to Qatar and do an accompanied tour over there with them.
Now, have you been there before?
Yeah. When I deployed, that's where I went.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of why it's difficult to call it a deployment. If an E6 technical sergeant in the Air Force can be a permanent party member over there, I don't see how that could be a deployment. And again, it's got a Dairy Queen and all the other places to eat, the Baskin Robbins, the Subway. You can go off base, pandemic notwithstanding.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's an unbelievably safe country. The culture is spectacular, and the food. We're not going to talk about how much weight I gained.
Is there a place where you would not want to go at all? Again, bringing your family.
Nowhere that I have been would I not want them to be there. If that makes sense. I mean, the last thing you want is to not be with your family for an extended amount of time.
Or put them in any kind of danger if it's in like a not so great area.
Turkey is a great example. Mm-hmm. Right now, just not a good, safe place to take your family with where the Air Force base is.
Right.
Leaving out all the details, that's about all I can say.
Right.
But you want to take your family to Europe right now, I would not recommend it just because of the pandemic restrictions they have in place.
Yeah.
Same with Asia. Really, the best place to be with a family is the U.S., thankfully.
Wow. And
this current point in time.
Yeah.
Caveat. Yeah.
All right. So I want to move into the next little thing that I had that I wanted to talk about. I know you're a bit of a fisherman.
Oh, yeah.
I want to say that you have a boat. Do you have a boat?
Oh, no. It's so being, thanks, Uncle Sam. Being military, it's difficult to have a boat because, again, you never know where you're going to go, and boats aren't cheap.
Yeah, that's going to be another thing that you have to move or store or something like that.
Yep. Would I like one? Oh, I'd love to have a boat, but that's not until after I retire.
Yeah.
And, hopefully the military will let me retire in 8 years, let me finish out my career. Mm-hmm. So long as I can keep following the rules and passing my PT test, I should be okay. Yes, the job is that easy. Follow the rules, pass your PT test. Another thing they like to say is shut up and color. I've learned that lesson the hard way multiple times. Oh boy. But no, I don't have a boat. All my fishing is done from land these days.
Do you go? Well, I imagine if you're based on where you are, you have to go freshwater, right?
Yeah, I'm stuck with the freshwater fishing.
Do you miss, because you're inland now, you don't really get any saltwater fishing done. Do you miss that at all?
Oh, for sure. Oh, 100%.
Like going out on the boat, going out on the ocean.
There is nothing better than saltwater fishing. Mind you, I love, strangely enough, hooking up to a carp and fighting it.
Yeah.
The problem is when you're freshwater fishing, you got a pretty good idea of what you're hooking into. Right. Whereas when you're saltwater fishing, Dude, you don't know if it's a massive snapper, a red snapper, a mutton snapper, or a dolphin. For those of you who don't know, not flipper, the fish, also known as a mahi mahi. And I think, honestly, to me, ocean fish taste better, 100%.
Do you always, whenever you go fishing, do you always save your stuff to eat, or do you just catch and release, depending on
I
what it
have,
is?
yeah, it definitely depends on what it is. I have eaten largemouth bass once. I don't eat it anymore. That's just a game fish to me. So catch and release. Same with carp, catch and
Mm.
release. Panfish, so bluegill, sunfish, and crappie. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, those get eaten. Oh man, you bread them up, fry them in the pan. Yeah,
It's
homemade tartar sauce and catfish. Oh, catfish, so good.
it's weird for me because number one, I don't eat seafood. Aside from the occasional sushi, or when we get like Chinese food, like I like crab rangoons, and it's only because it tastes mainly like cream cheese, and it doesn't taste like seafood to me. It's more so like it's a mental thing of this lived in the ocean. The ocean is gross. You shouldn't be eating it. It's completely mental for me, and I understand it, but I still can't get past it. I used to eat shrimp when I was younger, and then once that whole mental thing kicked in, I couldn't even go for coconut shrimp anymore, which sucks because coconut shrimp is delicious and I cannot eat it
Yes,
anymore. So whenever I go fishing, whenever I go, and I don't get the chance to ever, but whenever I do get to go, it's always catch and release, whether it's freshwater, saltwater. It's more about the fight and the fun. But for me, if I go out fishing and I catch nothing, I'm still having a better day than I would ever have at work. The
every
worst
time,
the worst day of fishing is better than the best day at work, is what
always.
somebody told me. So it's more about just like being able to sit the quiet in nature, and that's it. That's what it's about, being a fisherman.
Oh, dude, now we got to get you out hunting.
I will not hunt. I refuse. Not by any, because I don't like it or whatever. I've never been. I just can't actually shoot something that I'm not going to eat, because if I see it die, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to eat it. I'm not judging or anything, just by my own personal standards. I will never be able to pull the trigger or fire the arrow or anything if I'm not going to utilize the animal. And if I see it die, I'm not going to eat it. It goes against everything from evolution. And I 100% understand it, but I can only eat meat if I don't see it, essentially.
That's actually one of the most reasonable reasons I have heard someone say I don't want to go hunting.
Yeah.
That I can completely understand and respect. I get it. You don't want to see it die. You see it die. You see its life force leave its body, and you caused it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an extremely difficult thing for a lot of people to get around.
Yeah.
But so I went up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan for opening gun season for hunting deer. I never got the chance to pull the trigger,
Really.
but nothing legal walked by me. So
Oh, okay.
I saw 10 deer. None of them were large enough to harvest, so I was unfortunate and didn't get to fill my tags. But
Yeah.
from 7 o'clock until right around 5:30 every day, I was out in the woods by myself, complete silence. Just you can think about whatever you want, do it. It's extremely centering.
Yeah. And that's what I like about I've never been hunting, but hunting and fishing, it's being able to be by yourself or with a buddy, either way. But the silence and the calmness that you don't get at home or in your day-to-day bustle, like you get to stop and reflect inward, and you get to think what you want to. You get to have that you time, and you kind of, I feel like you learn a little bit about yourself, because where does your mind go? Like, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about your family? What are they doing? Are you thinking about the next Marvel movie? Are you thinking about what makes me me? Like, where does your mind go? How deep are you going to go when you have nothing else to think about? And that I like, that calmness is very soothing, I think.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think people need to do that way more often than they do. Put the electronics down,
Yeah.
go outside, go be alone for a while. Not a little bit, a while, couple hours.
It's funny, but I hear the word like meditate, and it seems like, oh, new age medicine, blah blah blah. It's the same thing. Going out hunting, going out fishing, you're essentially alone with yourself in your own head. And it's the same thing,
Yep.
whether you're doing it out in the forest or by the lake or in your family room on a yoga mat, you get calm. That's it.
Yeah, meditation takes many forms. Another form for me, hobbies for some people are meditation.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
the love of my life, that poor thing, she does art and calligraphy for meditation. She sit there in silence and paint pictures, uh, color pictures, write letters, the same letter over and over in different
Hmm.
styles of calligraphy, and that's what works for her. If I'm not hunting, I could be cleaning my guns. That is probably my most favorite thing about owning guns is being able to clean them. Strangely enough, I do absolutely love killing paper and putting holes in paper, but the cleaning afterwards, just for me, that is the most centering because I'm not thinking about anything else.
Yeah.
And for me, going back to more traditional meditation, yeah, that's kind of what you hear of the definition is like just empty your mind. Don't think
Hmm.
about anything. Well, I don't
Yeah.
think about anything when I'm cleaning. Just clean. That's
It
it.
that kind of reminds me of two things. One, you like driving, but you also like cleaning your car to make sure that it's well preserved and well taken care of. And you like raising your kids, but it's also nice to know that they're clean. So when giving them a shower or bath or whatever, clean kids, happy life.
Yeah, but then they get older and they don't like to take baths, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, come on, you stink.
Well, I haven't gotten that yet. So my daughter is 4, my son is 1, and they're both like, all right, I don't want to get soap in my eyes. So you figure out a way not to get soap in their eyes, and then it's fine. So for now, at least, I like my kids are younger than yours, but at least for now, I'm good. I'm rolling with the punches as it goes. Um, your wife, forgive me, I apologize. It's been a long time since I've seen her. I want to say her name is Jen. No,
Nope, nope,
no.
nope.
Oh,
It's Ashley.
Ashley. Oh, I was nowhere near it, but I was gonna get there eventually. I would have said enough names. Um, has Ashley done anything with anagrams, which are when you read it one way, looking at it upside down, it reads the same way.
I don't know.
Because she does, if she does calligraphy and if she does like lettering art, it's a really cool thing to look into.
Yes, I take that back. She has.
Okay. But that was always my go-to for a tattoo if I ever got one. I wanted to get something. If you ever watch the Dan Brown series, Angels and Demons, Da Vinci Code, that whole
Oh yeah.
yeah. So in Angels and Demons, they have them. The movie is not great, but the book is fantastic, and they have the anagrams, I think, to where they have each element, fire, air, water, and earth, as anagrams. And I always kind of wanted to get one as a tattoo. That was always my tattoo idea. But I did always say, like, if I ever want to get a tattoo, I have to wait a year, and if I still want it, I'll get it. And that's why I have no tattoos, because my taste changed so easily.
It's funny that you mention what you did for a tattoo idea because the first thought that came to my mind was, well, you're missing an element there, bud.
Wait, which one?
Love.
Oh no, love is what holds them all together.
No, 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 dude. You don't remember how many times we went to see The Fifth Element?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
taking it
no.
back. I'm taking it back.
Oh, we saw the fifth element so many times, and I've seen it
I
so many times
I know the
since.
number.
Do you really?
Yeah,
How many?
we went. So I know we went. You, David, and I think James was in there a couple of times, and myself went and paid 13 times at the Dollar Theater.
Oh, it was so good though. Like we loved, and I still do, Mila Jovovich. Um, I don't like Bruce Willis as much as I used to because I found out Bruce Willis is kind of a jerk. Oh God, but that was such a coming of age movie for us. Like,
Oh, it's still my favorite movie.
and there was like the science and religion and futuristic, and that was such a fun movie. It was so much
Yep.
fun, and I still like it to this day. It was way ahead of its time. That
Oh,
if
for
that movie
sure.
came out today with today's graphics and everything, it would be just as good as it was back then.
You know, he did a second movie, right? Or another movie. No,
Who
it's not
the?
a second to The Fifth Element, but the writer and director,
Oh no, which one? What movie did he do?
Valerian and a City of a Thousand Planets.
That sounds like I know about it, but never saw it.
It's got Cara Delevingne in it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's another very futuristic outer space movie. And when you do see it, please do yourself the favor and watch it in HD
Oh
because
yeah.
it's everything that The Fifth Element could have been.
Oh nice. Oh, you know what? I do remember that. I remember some kind of trailer or something from those who brought you the Element.
Yep.
And this, okay, that I do remember, but I never got to see it. Like I saw the trailers and then it never happened. I don't know if it was a COVID thing and theater shut down. I don't remember if that was the time or if it just went away by the wayside, because unfortunately that happens with movies too. So, all right, something that I wanted to mention to you is something that we didn't really talk about growing up or anything. I was always kind of curious about when I became friends with you. It was circa 92, I believe, 92, 93, I think, when I moved to Cooper City. It was you and your mom and your two little sisters, and you didn't have a dad around, and I never really knew that. I didn't know what that was about. But apparently your dad had passed away prior to us becoming friends, and I
Mm-hmm.
still don't know the story.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
what was it like growing up at a young age without a dad, and how did that kind of affect you?
That's I can tell that's a multi-part question. That's a deep question.
Mhm. And not an easy
Um,
one either. I know that.
well, it like all wounds, time helps heal them. With massively traumatic deaths, time cannot completely heal them. I don't care what anyone says. It's not possible.
Mhm.
But it has gotten extremely easy for normal day-to-day activities. So
Right.
breaking your questions down, we were actually in the process of moving to Gainesville, Florida.
Mhm.
He was a commercial electrician. He was building he was doing the electrical for the first Lowe's in the state of Florida up in Gainesville. He was working about 20 feet up in the air on a scissor lift. And this is back, like you said, in the early 90s.
Mhm.
Um, rules, OSHA, stuff like that wasn't as followed and prevalent as it is today.
Right.
And not sure, even I don't have the details all these years later, almost 30 years later, right? 20, 28, 29 years. All we know, all my mom has ever told us is he fell. He fell 20 feet onto his head. He had his hard hat on, but
Mhm.
he sustained a closed head injury, and he was basically a vegetable. And it was, I know this one's really difficult, but my mom had to go ahead and give the okay to pull the plug.
Right.
He was he could have stayed alive, but it would have just been emptiness.
If he made it, there was no sustainable quality of life at that point, which
Yeah,
and
absolutely none.
and that's a difficult call to make, because if you think about your wife, I think about mine. If that was the case, like I would do anything to hang on, but if there's no quality of life, it's a rough call. It's a very difficult call, but it's the right call to make. So I understand.
Yeah, and when you've been with someone as long as you have, like I know at this point, as difficult as it would be, Ashley would, I'm sure she would do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it all came down to, he was an extremely active outdoorsy person. He was a fisherman. He was a golfer. I don't have many memories of him and us as kids growing up being inside. All the good memories are playing outside, doing stuff. So that's what my mom thought about. It's like, if he was trapped in a body that couldn't do what he had to do, he'd be miserable.
Yeah.
So for her, that was, I'm sure, unbelievably difficult. I have no clue. To continue on to that question, there's so many days where it's extremely difficult, especially now with the kids. They're like, they understand death now, and they're like, well, your dad died when you were really little. It's like, yeah, he did. And I'm like, well, we don't know that, Grandpa. I'm like, nope, you don't. There's pictures of him in the house. They get to see pictures of him.
Mm-hmm. Is that tough for you when they bring it up?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore. It was extremely tough for me for a long time.
Yeah.
Couple of years ago, really 2 years ago, or not, 2 years ago, it was unbelievably difficult for me because Addie was 6, and that's how old I was when my dad died.
Right.
And I lived an extremely risk-averse life for a few years, just because I wanted to make it longer than my dad did for my kids. Now that she's 8 and I have made it past that point, I'm still risk-averse, but I don't shy away from a lot of things.
Yeah.
I take more chances, have a lot more fun, go out and do hood rat shit with my friends. The fear will always be there, but it's not as bad. I was extremely fortunate when we moved down to Florida. I had people like your dad and Carlos Noriega, Mike's dad, Alan's dad, all the coaches we had, that I guess my mom told them. I'm thinking she did, because you could tell that they knew.
Yeah.
And I was extremely fortunate to always have a positive male role model in my life. What's really sucked since then is, now when they die, it's just as bad as losing a dad. Yeah. It's extremely similar. I had to go to Michigan back in October after we left Florida for the second and final time when we were 12. Moved in next to another family on a lake, and just like your dad, their dad kind of took me in as one of his own kids.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
He passed away, so it was like, God, it was like losing a
Hits
dad
all over again. Yeah.
Yep. And that was the most recent. There were 2 other ones in there. My grandmother's youngest brother, Uncle Johnny, when he passed, that one was hard. And then this one's probably the story behind it is beautiful. It's comedic as well. Where my mom grew up in Michigan, up the road, those kids were old enough to babysit them. They had kids. Their kids babysat us. Later on in high school, he kind of took me, or early in high school, he took me under his wing. Just being a good, positive male influence and showing me the ropes, teaching me things about life and stuff. Next thing you know, boom, he's gone too.
Jesus.
So it's when those positive male figures and role models in my life move on to greener pastures, I take those way harder than most people do.
Yeah, understandably so.
So when it's not bad, it's not good, it's just rough for me. Yeah. And then going up to deer camp this year, that was hard, because my buddy's dad wasn't there.
Yeah.
And, Pop's not being there, it just wasn't the same. But we all needed it. It doesn't get easier. I tell you that much.
Does it make you kind of appreciate being there for your kids now, where your dad didn't have the luxury of being there for you and your sisters? Do you feel like that makes you appreciate being able to still be here for your kids? Does it, I mean, just I don't know, like I've never gone through that, so, and I don't mean to press too far or anything, but this is very like helpful to me myself. Like, it makes me appreciate the fact that I am here for my kids, and not everybody is graced with that. Like, life is never certain, and sometimes it takes things to appreciate. It takes tragedy to appreciate what you still have. So does that make you kind of appreciate the fact that you're still around for your kids and make the most of it?
I don't, honestly, I don't think it makes me appreciate it any more or any less.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely makes me more risk averse, especially with them. Like, with them in the car, I'm a safer driver. I don't like to get up on a roof that's 2 stories. I won't get up on my roof and clean the gutters out.
Yeah.
I just won't do it. I don't mind if it's a single story roof. I know that's extremely survivable. I've learned that one the hard way.
Oh boy.
But anything above 20 feet off the ground, it's just not going to happen with me, with the kids around and without a ridiculous amount of safety equipment. I'll get up 100 feet in a man lift. I am not afraid of heights. You'd think I would be. I am not.
As long as you have some kind of harness or something.
Yeah. With the safety equipment has to be there. Boy, howdy. But no, now that we've made it past that. Okay, I made it further than my dad did.
Yeah.
There's no easy way to say that. I'm also kind of in a, what the hell do I do? Because I never experienced it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like to have a dad at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have male role models and they help a lot along the way, but there are still certain things where you just don't know if you haven't experienced it.
No, I absolutely agree with you. You can have male role models as long as the day is, but that dad aspect of it, like somebody that's there in the beginning, someone that's there all day long, and at nighttime it's you don't know all the ins and outs. You can have a great coach, like my dad, Carlos. You can have those great coaches that are there for a time, but they're not the ones to wake you up. They're not the ones to feed you lunch. They're not the ones to put you to bed. It's a completely different ball game, no pun intended, as opposed to coaches.
That was a good pun.
But no, it is different. It hits completely different, and I absolutely understand that.
It does, and it's there's a lot of well shit. Who do I call for this?
Yeah,
who do I ask about this one? I don't call my mom because some of those conversations are extremely strange for me.
Yeah.
Ashley, on the other hand, she no issues calling my mom. She's like, "You raised a boy. What the hell do I do about this?"
Is Ashley's dad around?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there is a grandpa for your kids.
Yes.
I don't know how close you are to him, but do you ever go to him for like parental dad advice or?
No, because he raised 2 girls.
Which I can understand. It's different because he didn't raise a boy, but he's still got that dad, sixth sense about him, I guess. Well, you and we both have a boy and a girl, so it's a little bit different.
It's extremely different, dude.
Trying to soften the blow there, but yes, it's very different.
Look, people ask me all the time, what's it like? I absolutely envy the spread that you and Stephanie have with the 3 years between the kids.
Yeah.
And our goal was 24 months, but you come home from a deployment and things happen.
Yep. Are your kids born? Are their birthdays similar?
No. Addie's birthday is in June, and then her brother's Bug's birthday is St. Patty's Day, so March 17th.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, nice. Um, both of our kids are born first week of December, which we've tracked back to either our anniversary on March 16th or St. Patty's Day, where we're creatures of habit, apparently.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I've seen plenty of things on the internets and onlines, the TikToks and the Instagram crackers, whatever the kids do these days, where it's like, I get it. Once your kids are older, I don't think there's anything wrong with scheduling adult time.
No, not at all. It's you take what you can when you can. Things don't always work out. Sometimes you get inhibited by an early waking child or
sometimes
a kid that won't go to bed.
Sometimes
I say sometimes, but it's usually is probably a better word. But but I think it's very important to remember that time that it was you and her before it was us and them. It's
for sure.
It's very important to take that time to remember that and to have those little hugs and kisses while even the kids are awake. And it's funny, my daughter hates when Steph and I hug. I don't know why. I don't know if because she's very much so a daddy's girl. So I don't. I think she gets mad, and she absolutely does get mad showing affection towards each other. She doesn't like it.
Well, it's not that ours don't like it anymore. They get jealous.
Really?
They're like, wait, I want to be part of that hug. What the hell? No, pick me up. Nope. That we're doing a big hug, group hug,
family hug. All right. Well, that's not kind of the hug that I want. So go away.
Yeah, and it's funny. Even taking it back to the not having a dad thing. I think that's also strangely enough been slightly detrimental to the relationship Ashley and I have, because I don't hesitate. A kid says, "Can I sleep in your bed?" It's an instant yes.
Yeah.
And you could liken it to just not knowing any different, or honestly, for me, it's easier to blame. I've been away from my family for a total of over 500 days. 190 days for the deployment and 368 days for the short tour.
Right.
So there's a lot that I missed, and there's a lot of parental guilt. So I don't can I sleep in your bed tonight? Yep, go for it.
I think this was one of my favorite episodes because I got to catch up with one of my buddies that I haven't gotten to see for a long time, and one of the guys that I love very, very much. Danny, thank you very much for being my guest. Please extend my thanks to Ashley for not allowing you, but giving you this time to catch up with me. So please give her a big old hug and a kiss for me. So,
happily.
Something that I like to do with all my guests is give them the opportunity of saying the last words for the show. So is there anything that you would like to leave our listeners with? Any kind of words of wisdom?
I don't know about words of wisdom. I mean, I threw some in there. Do with them as you please. I am not an authority in any way, shape, or form. Being in the military is just a job for me, not a lifestyle. Again, those are my views, not the views of the Air Force, the DoD, or anyone appointed above me. I mean, if I was to leave this conversation with anything, it would be very similar to what you just ended with, and that's, dude, give your dad and your mom Tracy and your sister, my favorite babysitter, and your brothers a big hug from me. Let them know that I think about them regularly, and it's all good memories, dude. Every memory with you guys is a good memory, except for the one time your pool slide, the water wasn't working, and I got a strawberry from it. That sucked.
The insurance company made us take the slide out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they did.
Man, that's a bummer. I absolutely loved every time I got to come over to your guys' house, because you had, we would play the wrestling games, the homers. I never blamed you for breaking my arm.
Oh my goodness. I was thinking about this prior to recording. When we visited North Carolina, Stephanie's cousins, I guess my cousins now too, they have a big trampoline and they have the mesh around the trampoline. And
Oh,
when
yeah.
we went to go visit, Allie loved the trampoline. The first day she was out there for on and off for 3 to 4 hours. She loved the trampoline and she wanted me to be on it with her and play with her. And I was. And every time I thought about bouncing her up too high, I thought about you. I swear to God, I thought about you. And I'm like, I do not want to break my kid's arm. Like I already broke my best friend's arm.
Nope. I've never once for a second, half a second, millisecond, anything I've never put the blame on you, dude.
Oh,
there
I
was
blame
quite
myself.
a few years where I was absolutely terrified to get on a trampoline. I am not there anymore. It's nope, never been an issue. Seriously, all I have is good, great, spectacular memories. Back to the wrestling and the Simpsons and all the Ninja Turtle toys, dude. Playing Pogs with David. I don't have just the great memories, and I can't thank the Maas family enough, honestly.
You and David both were my absolute best friends growing up, and I'm so very thankful that I can still call you guys really good friends.
Same.
Thank you very much for being on the show tonight. So to everybody else, good night.
Good night, Daddy.
Good night, baby.